On Overdrive today, we give you an extensive insight into the all-new Thar Roxx. Find out all about the new TVS Jupiter 110 and listen into the latest auto news. Hello and welcome to Overdrive. I'm Sunita. The Mahindra Thar has always been known as an SUV for the adventurous folks, and now an entire family can enjoy it in comfort because Mahindra is offering a 5-door SUV. It's called the Thar Roxx. Rohit tells you all about it.
Popular belief is that Thar drivers are not so friendly, and I sort of second that opinion with the kind of encounters that I've had. For example, the first Thar test mule that I ever shot, the driver tried to run me off the road, and then the daily encounters that I have with bullies on the road who think they own the road just because they are driving a Thar. Of course, like any rule, there are exceptions to this one as well, and you will also find off-road enthusiasts, people who genuinely love the Thar heritage or love what the Thar stands for. Those kind of people also buy the Thar. And now there is a new Thar, the Thar Roxx. And chances are that you will usually find friendlier people in this variant, because you see, this is the one with the 5 doors. This is the family rated Thar. But it's still a Thar, which means it needs to go off the road. So before I hop into the rear seat and tell you more about it, let's take it on the rougher stuff.
Meet the Thar Roxx, a name that sounds straight out of the Yahoo chatroom days. To avoid rivaler impersonation, it sports a grille inspired by six-pack abs. Though with angular headlights and the Armada name, it might have rocked an even stronger image, methinks. But function speaks louder than form here. And the Roxx delivers with its new 4x4 system featuring an electronic locking differential, an IntelliCurve function for making tight U-turns, and also a crawl function which we got a demo of on some seriously slushy terrain.
So we are going to demonstrate now what the IntelliTurn feature works like. You need to be in one of the terrain modes, sand, snow or mud. That we are going to be in mud because we are in a slushy area. You need to be in 4-low as well, and then you need to activate that function using the switch on the dashboard. Now without it, it's going to do a much longer turning radius, but with it the turning radius is going to be tighter. So how is it doing that? Essentially it is using the slip control. So it is going to add traction to the front wheels whenever required. It's also going to brake the inner rear wheel to keep on tightening that turning radius, cutting it short, and that is how it's going to help you. So one, you don't need to do those 3-point turns, and two, if you're on a trail, jungle trail, you need to come to that really tight U-turn or something. We all know it can become hairy in a long wheelbase vehicle like this, right? But here, even with the longer wheelbase, almost as much as a Scorpio N, it will do it much nicer and much tighter than a Scorpio N. Let's take a look. Notice how without it, it overshot the cone, and with it, it was right in between those two tight cones. So that shows you how well this function works. Again, a function that we've seen something similar like this on a very expensive car, the Lexus or even a Land Cruiser. And now you can have that in a Thar. The next thing that we're going to look at is the crawl control function that they have. So here it is essentially going to vector torque amongst different wheels. So for now we've turned it off. You're in normal mode, there's no crawl control on, and what you'll see is that the wheels just keep spinning. On a difficult obstacle like this, it just keeps spinning. We are stuck. Technically we are stuck. I can only feel the wheel spinning. You can see it as well. Now we're going to enable the crawl function, right? And that again works only with 4-low. And now essentially what it's going to do is it's going to crawl out of the situation, right? So it's vectoring torque, it is applying brakes wherever necessary, applying acceleration wherever necessary. So only on the wheels where there is traction, it's going to give it the power, right? And that is how it's going to come into play. So here you have the electronic locking differential at work, you have the brake locking differential at work. All of this is working together to crawl the vehicle out of the tricky situation, and it just works. Now this was the crawl control working in slush, but how does it work on the rocks? Now let's take a look at that as well. Here you will also see the kind of approach and departure angles that this vehicle has despite its long wheelbase. The breakover angle is also pretty good, and then of course this is a proper SUV, so the ground clearance is quite generous as well. Now these are not the kind of rocks that you will want to encounter every now and then, right? But should you come to a situation like this is how the Thar easily manages all of that. So see here, the wheels are not necessarily in the air, right? So it's not the same as going over those articulation courses. So here again, it's going to figure out which wheel has the maximum traction and then nicely play along and make sure that the torque vectoring is happening properly, the brake vectoring is also happening properly, and then you are just crawling over it all. So all of that is again coming into play. Let me remind you again, you need to be in 4 mode for this.
More on the ride quality, creature comforts as well as safety after this very short break. Stay with us, you're watching Overdrive. Welcome back, you're watching Overdrive. Now whether you're an off-road enthusiast or you're looking for a capable family car, then the Thar Roxx might just be your dream ride. And here's Rohit telling you why.
Now, usually cars that are great at off-roading like this, it translates to a bit of a underwhelming response when it comes to driving on tarmac. Like for example, slow steering and brakes that we saw with the Jimny, or a lot of noises filling into the cabin from the tires, wind, etc. even in expensive off-roaders like the Jeep Wrangler. Thankfully, the Thar Roxx addresses all of that quite nicely. Talking about the steering, the responses aren't too slow. There is an electric power steering. It is a system that is sort of taken or borrowed from the Scorpio N, but also tuned to suit the Thar a lot better. What's also carried over from the Scorpio N is the steering wheel, but it's only adjustable for tilt and not for reach. So that is a bit of a missed opportunity. I think that customization should have been allowed too. Now the suspension with the FDD or the frequency dependent damping, now that is again a tech that is borrowed from the Scorpio N but tuned for the Thar, but you still have those pulsations, especially when you're driving at highway speeds, you will feel them a lot more. We are driving on some tight winding roads and it behaves quite well. The body roll is well controlled.
Speaking of road tripping, there'll be tons of roof rack options like we've seen on the Thar 3-door. If you feel that the boot is inadequate, that is.
So for a family of 5, the boot space is actually quite good. That is one thing that I was worried about. I'm glad they didn't try to cram in any jump seats here and make it a 3-row. So if you still need a 3-row, the Scorpio N is for you. This is excellent for 5 people and all of their luggage. Excellent boot. And as you would expect, that square shape also makes it a good wide aperture, and the loading lip is not too big. It's still a split tailgate. Now let's hop into the rear seat. As you see, the doors, they open 90 degrees, right? So when you look at it from the outside, the door looks small, but it opens 90 degrees. So ingress and egress, not a problem. You just have to be mindful of your head. You also get this B-pillar mounted grab handle right here so that you can easily get in. And now in terms of the space, well, the knee room, pretty good. This is the kind of headroom that I get. I'm 5'8". Sumit here is 6 feet tall, and foot space, not too bad either. Under thigh support is actually quite good. You can nicely stretch out and sit quite comfortably. And you can also recline the seat. So if you want to get a snooze, you can nicely recline, enjoy that big panoramic roof. So overall, comfort is quite good. Visibility outside of the window, excellent. You have ISOFIX child seat mounts here, so even when you put your child seat here, your child is going to be able to enjoy a really good view outside of the windows.
The rear seats comfortably fit 2 adults and a child, but squeezing 3 adults might be a bit tight. The Thar Roxx isn't just about cool air conditioning and a rocking sound system. It boasts a touchscreen with wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, though we couldn't get that part to cooperate. It also packs 360-degree cameras, and like a Mercedes-Benz, there's a transparent bonnet, or well, a transparent car feature that shows you what's under the car as you crawl forward. A lifesaver when off-roading solo or when tackling those fabled potholes during our monsoons.
Plus, the standard safety tech is stacked up quite nicely. AX variants even offering level 2 ADAS, though not as refined as the one that we saw on the XUV 700. I was speaking to someone at Mahindra and they happened to tell me this is not just a Thar with 2 more doors. This is a Thar with doors 2 more. And I think I quite agree with that. This certainly is one of those.
Well, has the Thar Roxx caught your fancy compared to the Scorpio N or even the Jeep Compass? Let us know in the comment section on our YouTube channel. And before we take a very quick break, let me tell you that Skoda India has finally narrowed down to the Indian consumer's choice for their upcoming SUV, and that name is the Skoda Kylaq. I caught up with Petr Janeba, the brand director of Skoda India, and here's a short clip from that interview.
It is from today the most favorite name which I had, but until yesterday I was thinking about a different one. It was very secret, nobody knew what the name is coming out. But the Indians embrace Kylaq as the most, as the name number 1.
What is the timeline, the launch timeline? Will we be seeing it pretty soon? Will booking start pretty soon?
So there are some steps still to come. As we said, we have started our journey like countdown 1 year before in February. So that means in February we will have everything in plans. You can test drive the car and you can find out yourself whether it is the best car in the segment or second best car in the segment or whatever
so
place it will be.
Before?
And there are a lot of things expected before. We have to make a worldwide premiere, which will be done again in India because it's our car here. But we still call it worldwide premiere because the car will be as well exported and everywhere will be named Kylaq all around the world. Yeah.
Right.
So, and there are a lot of other engagement topics, including announcing of the price and start of booking. But please allow us to keep still some small secrets until it's coming. Yeah.
Well, coming up on the other side, we check out TVS's updates to its best-selling scooter. Welcome back, you're watching Overdrive. Now, the TVS Jupiter 110 is currently the brand's best-selling scooter in the Indian market, and after a decade, the brand has given it some serious updates. Chris will tell you all about it.
So it's been around 11 years since the TVS Jupiter 110 has been around in India, and the year is 2024 and it has finally undergone a substantial change. This could be considered a generational change because that's an all-new engine, a different chassis, and of course different design and features as well. Now we have been called out here to the TVS test track, the facility in Hosur, which is the plant, to ride the scooter a couple of days before the launch. Alright, so starting off with the design of the scooter. Now this is the top spec variant of the 110 Jupiter. So it comes with this very peculiar, nice color scheme as well, and very refreshing in terms of design. It has a more modern take on although it is a family oriented scooter, it's not that sporty, but it does have a nice futuristic look to it, primarily thanks to that long running DLL along the front apron of the scooter. Now the turn indicators have been integrated into the front apron as well like before, but you don't have those bird's eye kind of looking turn indicators as the older scooter. Now you get 12-inch wheels at both ends, telescopic front suspension, single monoshock at the rear, LED lighting at both ends, really neat looking. And of course this top spec variant is identifiable visually by of course the DRLs, which are complete all around the scooter, and the disc brake. The disc brake is only available on the top spec variant, and which includes the connected tech. Now coming to the rear of the scooter, as you will see also, it has this long LED running along the back of the scooter with the turn indicators integrated here as well. I'll just switch that on for you to get a look at that. And this top spec variant also comes with a hazard light switch, which has been integrated quite neatly into the turn indicator buttons out here as well. So this is how the normal turn indicators work, but you long press this and it functions as a hazard light switch. Secondly, you will come to the screen. Now this is an LCD screen, reverse LCD. They call it a color screen, but there are just some colored elements out there. This screen, quite intuitive, decent amount of information for you on the go. You can toggle between your odometers, trip settings, and of course you do have real-time running efficiency when you're on the go, and it does have speed warning. So when you go above 80 kilometers per hour, it gives you this high speed warning. Eco and power modes depending on your throttle inputs. And of course now this is the new chassis. So this is the same chassis as that of the Jupiter 125. So the entire layout of the 110 has improved, I would say, because yes, as you can see, the fuel filler lid out here with the 110, like with the 125, has shifted to the front, the aprons, to fill your fuel quite conveniently on the go. Now this is the new 113cc single cylinder engine. There's quite a bit of tech thrown in there as well. So it has ISS, which is the intelligent start-stop system, which basically your scooter goes off if you stop at a signal, pull over for around 3 seconds, it will go off automatically, twist the throttle, and then it will ignite and start, and you can be on your way. Then there have been other integrated technologies with this particular motor, like you have this small boost kind of feature, which works more or less on the lines of the Yamaha Ray ZR, where yes, now the max power of this motor is around 8 PS of max power and around 9.2 Nm of torque. But then there is a small indicator on the dashboard that tells you that you have some power from the battery to thrust you forward with a little more gusto, because your power is bumped up, your torque in fact is bumped up to around 9.8 Nm of torque with that assist from the electrical motor. From the battery, that draws power from the battery and gives you a little more shove on your initial phase of acceleration. So that is pretty neat as well. Now this one comes with Smart Connect technology, which includes Bluetooth, connectivity, call alerts, all that kind of thing. You also have turn-by-turn navigation prompts, and of course you do have the start-stop technology, which is constant through all of them. You do have some safety tech thrown in there as well, in terms of auto cancellation, turn indicators. You have the hazard light switch integrated into the turn indicator lamp as well. And of course, once you brake hard out on the road, you do get some the people behind do get some indication that you have done so, because your hazard lights come on automatically and they switch off as soon as you release the brakes. So that is a real nice safety tech. And you do get combined braking system as well. So really good in terms of features. As you can see, the riding posture of the Jupiter 110, well, this refresh version, is fairly simple and nice and convenient. Everything within reach, no fuss, not really sporty. And of course, the main point of this scooter has to be the convenience factor. So you have a nice glove box out here in front. You have a USB charging port conveniently located, as well as your fuel filler lid right here with your tank located under the footboard. So everything, you don't really need to get off the scooter to fill your fuel and anything like that. Previously it was at the rear. Well, now shifted to the front, which is more or less on the lines of the 125, the Jupiter 125. The seating, well, now with the same seat length as the Jupiter 125, which is around 756 mm in length. As you can see, quite comfortable, and a lot of space for a pillion at the rear as well. And of course, you do have a good 33 liters of underseat storage space where you can fit 2 half-face helmets. So that's a really neat thing. So in terms of power and agility, well, the scooter primarily is not supposed to be the sportier kind, because you have like stuff like the N-Torque for that. But then again, this chassis has changed the dynamics of the scooter for the better, because yes, it does feel very light, very nimble. And in terms of acceleration, well, the new motor, the 113cc motor, and it is assisted by the battery as well, you do get a nice amount of shove on the go, even from 20 to 40 to around 60 kilometers per hour actually. It is very smooth, butter smooth all throughout, and very comfortable. That's the main thing, and that's what people who buy the scooter will be looking for. That comfort factor, even though you have the agility thrown in with the scooter, is a real plus point.
This latest avatar of the TVS Jupiter 110 has been priced from Rs 73,700, that's ex-showroom, for the base drum brake model, to Rs 87,250 for the top spec disc brake variant with the connected tech. Which means that although the Jupiter 110 has certainly upped its game in terms of design, ride quality, handling and features, the new model is priced very similar to the older generation model, which can only mean good things for the brand. A new and improved model with new features, same old price tag, has a kick to it, right?
on that note, it's time to wrap up this week's edition of Overdrive. But remember, you can stay in touch with the team through our various social media platforms, and you can write to us on YouTube as well. We'll see you next week. Until then, goodbye. Many thanks for watching.